Hey there, kids. Welcome to another video. This is for Module 6, Lesson 5, homework. And so this is a little homework support because the graphing is really important. I just think it's going to be on all the tests that you're going to see, and so you really need to understand how to graph. So you will need a ruler today to make straight lines. Don't just try to wing it. Freehanding never looks very good. And let's get started. Use the coordinate plane to answer the questions. Use a straight edge, that's what this is, or anything straight, to construct a line that goes through points A and B. If you look at the way points A and B are printed, this year's printing is a little off, honestly. It should be right straight in the middle of the intersecting lines. So I'm going to stick with the lines where it should be. And we're going to make a full line. See what I mean by it's not exactly going through, but it is on the line. Okay, and so we'll just stretch out point A and stretch out point B. So it does go through those points at the intersections. And so we constructed a line, and a line goes on forever in both directions. Put an arrow at both ends, and you should continue it out. You can have it go outside of the coordinate plane. And it's through A and B, and we're going to label the line G. Don't forget to give it its name because it's groovy, G for groovy. All right, line G is parallel. Parallel means going the same direction as which axis. So if I get another ruler and I say this is the x-axis, and you may certainly label it, this is x, this is y. If this blue one represents the x-axis, and this is line G, okay, then you can see that they're parallel, like a pair of L's going the same direction. So it's parallel to the x-axis, parallel to x. And that means it's going to be perpendicular to the y-axis. Parallel, perpendicular, okay? Perpendicular means it creates right angles when it crosses it. Okay, that's another important thing to know. Now you're going to draw two more points on line G and name them points C and D. So you can put those points anywhere on this line on the graph. So you can have point C out here, you can have it in here, you can have it out here. You can do what you like. Yours don't even have to match mine, okay? But you want to just put 2 points. So I'm going to put point C here, and I'll put point D out here. Okay, so now I have points C and D. I labeled them, and you know how I love checking things off. I'm done, I'm done, I'm done. Okay, so check things off when you're done. Now give the coordinates of each of the points below. We have A, B, C, D, so let's check it out. See where they cross. In order to do that, you're going to have to look at your number line and see what you're counting by. If I have 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have all these lines, then it's 5. You're counting by ones, okay? We won't always count by ones. A lot of the time you're going to be counting by fractional units, okay? So this is by 1. Give the coordinates starting with A. I'm going to look at my x value. Always walk before you climb. So we're going to walk down the street. Got a little mark there. I like it clean. Keep it clean. So we're on X Street, and this is 4 for X. And then you go up and see where it crosses, and it's 2 below 10, so this is 8 right here. So 4, 8. You need to write your ordered pairs with a parenthesis on either side and a comma in between. If you don't do it, it's not going to be an ordered pair. For B, we have this fixed point, and again, counting by ones, you can go label your number line if that helps you. 9 is my X value, and 8 is my Y value. Again, gosh, they have something in common. Let's see about C. C is on 6, that's my X value, X comes first, and the Y value is what? 8, you are so smart. And then for D, whatever you put, again, wherever you put your point for D, mine happens to be at 11. but the y value is 8. Okay, so very curious. What do all the points on line G have in common? All y coordinates are 8. So you could say y equals 8. And that is a rule that you could follow when making this line. It doesn't even matter what your x value is. It could be to infinity and beyond, but your y value has to be 8, and you are on line G. Now give the coordinates of another point, any, that falls on line G with an x coordinate greater than 25. Now here's your opportunity. You can put anything here that you want as long as it's greater than 25. That does not include 25. It has to be 26 or higher. Okay, you can put anything there that is 26 or higher. Okay, and the coordinates for line G for the y value, it would have to be 8. So any number here greater than 25, so 26 and above, and then an 8. That's how you answer that one. Let's turn the page. Okay, plot the following points on the coordinate plane to the right. And now I want you to look carefully at the graph because we are no longer counting just by ones. When you look and you see line, line, line 1, it means that we've taken 1 and we've broken it into how many parts? Well, how many did it take to get to 1? It took 4 parts, so everything is in quarters. But they don't even label it in quarters, they're labeling it in halves. So what does that mean each line is? Well, it's 1/4. This can be 2/4, which is equal to a half. This can be 3/4, and this is 1. 1 and 1/4, 1 and 1/4, etc. And so you can do the same thing on the side. 1/4, 2/4 are equal to 1/2, 3/4, etc. So now that you have thought actively about your x and y values on these number lines, let's plot these points. 3/4, 3, always starting with x. 3/4, and then 3, that's way high, all the way up to the top. That's point H. Done. I is 3/4 again, 2 1/4. So we're going to follow, remember, I'm going to follow the line with my pencil, and I'm going to follow the y-axis with my finger up to 2 1/4. 2 1/4. Right there, and that's point I. Done. 3/4 and 1/2. 3/4 here, and then 1/2. Well, I didn't even get to 1. That's J. And for K, 3/4 and 1. Here's 1 1/2. Here's 1 3/4. If you need to pause the video, if I'm going too fast, sorry, pause the video and get your work done. Label everything with the letters and be neat. Use a straight edge to draw a line to connect these points and label the line F. Fancy F, cursive. Hold on tight to that ruler and put your nice long line F, or fancy F. Okay, label the line F. Did it. In line F, x equals what for all the values of y? Y keeps changing, but x does not change. X is always 3/4 because this is a vertical line. So we're going to circle the correct word, thinking about parallel and perpendicular. So line F is what to the x-axis? This is the x-axis, and so here is line F. How does line F interact with x? Well, it crosses it, making a right angle, which means it is perpendicular to x. Line F then is parallel to y. Okay, so parallel to y and then perpendicular to x because it crosses at a 90-degree angle. Now, what pattern occurs in the coordinate pairs that make line F vertical? What pattern? Well, That's when you look back at your x values and you see that they're all 3/4. So write that down. X equals 3/4. Okay, always if you have this vertical line. For each pair of points below, think about the line that joins them. Now for which pairs, and again, we've got these 2 points, like the x and y, and then here's an x and a y. For which pair is the line parallel to the x-axis? Okay, circle your answers without plotting them. Explain how you know. So if I need to find a line that is parallel to x, here's x, and I need a line that is parallel to it. So what would all of the coordinate pairs would have to have something in common? What would it be? Okay, something would be the same. Well, they would all have to have the same what? Y value. The y must be constant. Must be the same. The y value must be the same. 3.2 and 7, okay, that matches this 7. It doesn't matter what the x is because we're going to be moving along the x-axis. But the y value is 7, so if this had up to 7, then it would just show that this is a constant line going across the y-axis at 7. Okay, and that's how you get the line to be parallel to x. Now if this y is 8.4 and this y is 8.8, would that be parallel to x? No, because the y values are not the same. How about these? Nope, 12 and 11. So these would not work and these would not work. The y values must be the same. Next one, for each pair of points below, think about the line that joins them in the same way. For which pairs is the line parallel to the y-axis? Okay, so if you have a line like this that's parallel to y, here's your y, and it's parallel, what did we notice about all the values here in this line that's parallel to y? All the x values have to be the same. Must be the same. And then you start comparing. You look for 3.2 and compare to 3.22. Now you see this, however, what would be the next digit? It would be a 0 and this is a 2. Those are not the same, therefore we can't circle those. 13 1/3 before the comma and 13 1/3 before the comma. That means this one is okay. Sorry, I didn't even circle that. Going back, attention to detail. And so we need another x value that's the same, 2.9, 7.2. Nope, they don't match. So those would not be parallel to the proper axis. Okay, almost done. Coming right along. Write the coordinate pairs of 3 points that can be connected to construct a line that is 5.5 units to the right of and parallel to y. Now if it's parallel to y, it's going to cross that x-axis on a particular number. If it says right here that it's 5.5 units to the right of y, then 5.5 units is your x value. So what you want to do for your coordinate pairs is write the x value at 5.5, and then any number will work here. Any number. How about this one? 5.5. Any number. Notice that at least we're counting by half units, so you don't always have to put a whole number. You could just put 3, but you could also put 5.5 if you wanted, because you know that the number line is counting in half units on both axes. Again, 5.5 as your x value, and anything you want to put there that is a positive number, and you can count in half units if you'd like. So anything will work. You don't have to copy mine. It could be 7 or 10 or 14 or 200, whatever you want, as long as this is 5.5 for x. Okay, and then write the coordinate pairs. Oh, by the way, click subscribe. Come back again. I will try to help you on your homework. I will try to help you on the problem sets. I am very helpful. Write the coordinate pairs of 3 points that lie on the y-axis. Okay, if it's on y, then you can't go anywhere on X Street. Okay, and I'm just making my hand go in this direction because that's where the x-axis is. So look at this graph if you want to use that to help you. If you have 3 points that are on the y-axis, if it's on the y-axis, you can't go this direction. So it has to be 0 for x. Has to be. Now you can have any value, okay, as long as they don't say, you know, it has to be greater than this or less than that. You can have any value for y. Just put the number and then end with your parenthesis. Okay, and again, any. 2, 4, 6, 5, 10, 15. Okay, you can have half units, you can have quarter units, you can have whatever. They do not specify. So any number, literally any number could go there. Okay, and then how about number 7? Leslie and Peggy are playing Battleship. Oh, I hope you guys got to do lesson 4 with Battleship. Super fun. Ask your teacher to make photocopies of the directions and the playing field. It's so fun. You guys, like, if you're not in my homeroom class and you didn't get to play it with us, you really need to try that. It's fun. It's fun for like those Fridays, those free time, you know, in the afternoon. It's just great. Anyway, sorry, I digress. Leslie and Peggy are playing Battleship on axes labeled in halves. See, that's how you're counting. Presented in the table is a record of Peggy's guesses so far. What should she guess next? This is strategy, people. How do you know? Explain using words and pictures. Okay, so in Battleship, if I can flip back to it in my little book here. In Battleship, you've got the your ships and then the enemy ships. And so you basically have your attack shots. And so you want to, you can mark it with whatever you want. Check for a hit. I'd probably do something different. But you can do X's and checks or whatever. And so if you get a miss, that means that for the X value of 5 and the Y value of 5, there's nothing there at the intersecting point. But then when the 4 for X and the 5 for Y is a hit, that means that going out further on the X was not where the ship was, but going only to 4 was where the hit was. So then the next one, you say, okay, well, it's not this one, potentially, because this seems to be where the change was, right? So if this is your X and it was a hit, then you want to be able to narrow down, like, which way is the ship going? It's not going out further on X because that was a miss. So it must be going this way. But then they tried that, and with 3.5, it was a miss. So it's not going this way, and it's not going this way, which means, which way is it going? Well, it's going up and down. Now you have to change your Y value, or you have to make sure the lights stay on with the motion sensors. That means get up and move around more. Okay, sorry. So anyway, so now that we know that the 4 is the X value, then the 3.5 is a miss. What should the guesser be guessing? You should be guessing a 4 for X. So she should guess, okay, first 4, because we know that that was where it hit. And we know that the 5 just to the right is going to be a miss. And, or potentially if we have half units, 3.5, which is just to the left, is a miss. So another possible, if they're counting in half units, would be a 4.5. Okay, but that you could have 2 ships lined up next to each other, that's a possibility. So anyway, so 4 for your X seems to be the hit, but you want to be able to go up or down the Y. So you got to change all these Y's. Notice that the Y's are always 5, 5 and it's a miss, 5 and it's a miss, 5 and it's a miss. So change up your y. Try the 5.5. How about something, it seems like they're counting in half units, so you could do a 4.5. Okay, and so those could be some guesses, and if you wanted to draw this out and label everything, you don't have to do the whole big grid, but if you had part of it and you wanted to show that it was like a 3.5, 4, 4.5, and then let's just say 3.5, 4, 4.5, going here. And if this 4, 5, we'll take this up to 5, is a hit, okay, right where they cross, but the 5, 5 is a miss, okay, then that's not there. And the 3.5, 5 is a miss. There's nothing here, okay. And the 4.5, 5. So see how it's not going this direction. So then you would want to change your y values. You want to maybe get up to 5.5. That's this guess, but you want to keep your potential for. The 4.5 was a miss for that one, but 4.5, 4.5. You could have another ship down here, and so that could be going down this way. Anyway, I think you get the idea. If you play Lesson 4 Battleship, it's super fun. You get to follow the directions and build your ships, and it's really great. So anyway, these would be like some potential good guesses, and then that is how you can explain it. And you also want to write in words 5 for y. Seems to be a miss. And so then you want to change the y value. And that should explain it pretty well. Okay, I'll move that up so you guys can see it. And we will catch you on the next video. I hope this is helpful. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.